a catalyst of issues occurred. Definitely the biggest one was when my stepfather passed away. Lee contracted colon cancer. He was a really proud man, and he always said, you know, I'll live my life how I want, and I would deal with the consequences, you know, whenever it happens. So Lee's here, age 52, passing away. And I remember when he was on his deathbed, and he grabbed my hand and he said to me, it wasn't worth it. You know, that really hit me, and I think it really taught me to look at life differently. It all started for me when I was actually working in a local gym. I was just selling memberships, so you know, you'd come in, I'd sell you a gym, and I had absolutely no idea that my career was about to skyrocket. I ended up managing these huge multi-million-dollar revenue lines, and I was one of the leaders of that. And I remember being in front of these people, inspiring them, you know, hundreds of people in these sales calls and presentations, telling them, you know, we're not selling photocopiers, we're not selling yellow page ads, you know, we're changing people's lives. And I absolutely believed in that, and it didn't take long before I'd won all of these awards. So, you know, Best Regional Trainer and Club of the Year and General Manager of the Year, and you know, these huge awards. I was based in Asia, in the Philippines at this stage, and a boss and a friend was visiting from overseas, and I'd let myself go. And he walked around and he grabbed my love handle, right? And he could barely fit it into his hand. Like, it was so big. Later on that night, I was in the swimming pool, and I was thinking, you know, what's going on? Like, this isn't what things were meant to look like. You know, I'm in a country I don't really want to be in, doing a job that I've realized isn't what I thought it was. We weren't really changing people's lives. We were selling memberships, and it's based on a model whereby it works on you not transforming your life. And I say that because 80% of the people, and these are the stats of people joining, didn't actually use the facility after 2 months. It's on a 12-month agreement, and they just weren't using the facility, and that's a common trend. And I realized we were selling a lie. And here I am, and I'm obese, I'm 100 kilos. I've got these huge love handles and my health's gone to crap. And I'm thinking, something's got to change. So I decided I'm going to quit my job. And I moved with my wife to Melbourne. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I had to find something. And what I ended up doing was realizing that, you know, my passion still sits within the industry, but we need to go about it a different way. So I started trying to look for a gym to buy. I ended up calling a business broker. Actually, I called about 80. And, you know, do you have a gym for sale? Do you have it in your books? None of them did, but one of them called me back and he said, I have a close family friend's son who's also interested in trying to open a gym. I called this guy up, his name was Dave. And we met, and he was the yin to my yang. You know, he had perfect skill sets to complement my weaknesses, and I could complement his strengths. And we shook hands, and we decided we'll go into business together.
I am very, very passionate about the fitness industry. My real passion lies in helping people. That sort of led me to actually want to open my own establishment. And whilst I was looking and trying to do that, I just through a family friend was introduced to Matt. I sort of gave him my spiel of where I really saw the fitness industry going, and he was aligned to that way of thinking. Together we searched for a facility, and we found this space in North Fitzroy. And you know, obviously the rest from that perspective is history.
First of all, we opened up the facility with 100 people, you know, before we had even opened the doors. We started to see these success points. And I remember our first 12-week transformation was with a girl called Kylie, and she got these amazing results. And we did it without crash diets or steroids or this hormone therapy and all this rubbish that sits out there and just smashing her with exercise. That's not how you go about things. We were taking a holistic approach. You know, we fixed her gut health. We managed her stress levels. You know, we put her on an intelligent training program that made her feel great. She got an amazing transformation, and we've done that time and time again.
We look at things like gut hormones, we look at adrenal health, we look at nutrition, we look at all these elements and then actually figure out what is the best type of training method and so forth for the individual. Number one is we've got mobility. Mobility is your ability to hold a deep squat for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. If we look to countries like Oriental countries and so forth, they sit at a bus stop and they wait for a bus for 30, 45 minutes and they're just sitting in a deep squat. If you get a Western person to do that, you'd need a crane to actually pull them up off the ground. So we've actually gone away from those sort of primal movements that we used to do, deep squatting, hanging off things. So mobility is a big aspect for us, and that's why we do look at things like primal movements, how well you can deep squat, how long you can sort of passively hang. And we look at all different facets when it comes to mobility. Second would be strength and increasing lean muscle. We know that if you increase your lean muscle, that you're going to be able to burn more fat at rest. Look at what we're sort of facing in Western societies. People are really, really struggling with their weight. Strength is the seed and everything else grows from that. Third thing is stress management. It's actually for me, it's actually one of the most important things. Maybe 200 years ago, this might not have been the case, but I think everyone understands, modern society, is ruled by stress. So when you're really, really stressed, you produce cortisol to either help you turn around and fight something or run away from it, okay? And unfortunately in a Western society, most people perceive they're getting chased or fighting something 24 hours a day. We have adrenaline receptors around your midline and around your hips, and guess what? You look at most people, this is where they're holding a lot of their body fat. That's why we go into depth and look at people's biochemistry, look at their blood markers, look at even their cortisol levels, their hormone levels and so forth. Other thing is nourishing foods and gut health. Believe it or not, your blood markers can be a depiction of what you're not getting from food. At the end of the day, how we function as a human being is dependent on amino acids, it's dependent on vitamins and minerals. It's really that simple. Protein is the most important macronutrient known to man. The first 60% of the protein you eat goes towards healing your immune system. If you're not eating enough protein, guess what? You have a depleted immune system. You don't have enough protein, guess what? You're a poor detoxifier, which leads us to the next one. And the last one is detoxification. Detoxification is a really important thing to us, and that doesn't mean that we're putting people on cleanses and so forth. It can be as simple as just increasing your protein intake. You're going to detoxify using things like infrared saunas. It's amazing for getting things like plastics, heavy metals, stubborn toxins out of your body. And exercising. Nothing's as good as for releasing toxins as just training. Those 5 elements, if you can do these essential 5 elements, then in terms of how you're going to feel energized. You're going to feel the best that you've ever felt. You're going to sleep better. You're going to, if sport is your thing, you're going to perform better from a sporting perspective. If academics is your thing, you're going to 100% be better at actually whatever your passion is. There's nothing quite like watching someone transform their whole body in terms of their energy, how they sleep. Watching these things change and actually watch the transformation in that individual. It's one of the most satisfying feelings that you can actually feel. I've gone through that transformation myself. Like when I first started in the industry, I definitely didn't practice what I preach. I definitely didn't do the things that I know now are the things that are actually going to benefit people's lives. So I've learned from my mistakes and then developed that over time to actually what Fifth Element is all about now. I'm doing it because it works and it actually helps people be healthier and helps people get results. What really drives me is actually to help people sleep better, help people have more energy, help people not have gut issues, help people handle stress better, and this is really what drives me, and I've been lucky enough to witness that in numerous people.
What's important is you need to make sure that this is your body. It's not anybody else's. So the journey and the decisions that go into it need to be specific to your individual case. That's what we do really, really well. We don't pretend to just take a cookie cut approach to anything. We are very much about identifying what's the best approach for you, and we're just going to tell you exactly what we think you should do. We're not going to tell you what you think you might want to do. We're going to tell you whatever we think is the best thing for you, and it's up to you whether you take that or not. I'm most passionate about the fact that I'm not your standard personal trainer or necessarily person in the gym where they don't really understand what it's like to be obese. They don't really understand what it's like to have chronic stress issues and bad gut issues. You know, I've basically been in the worst case scenario in many cases. So when somebody comes in and they're telling me their problems, I can empathize with it because I've personally been there and experienced it, but I also know what the solutions were for me, and I can help articulate that across. And that's really, that's what I'm passionate about.
Personal trainers actually have the ability to get through to people and really change their life. So for me, this industry has the ability to change people's lives for the better.
When I compare where we are now, or where I am now, in comparison to that night in the pool, I've lost 30 kilos of body fat. Not 30 kilos of weight, I've lost 30 kilos of body fat from that point. I've got a beautiful son who's turning 3, I've got a lovely wife that I love, and I'm literally living a dream at the moment. And it's not about selling memberships, it is about changing people's lives. And if we can make a sustainable business out of that, then I love it.